At the time, I was sitting in my room, having just gotten ready for the party. I was sure that I was going to have to put on the fake smile as usual. These parties do get so boring. Mostly just a bunch of adults talking about business stuff, whose stock is growing, whose is lowering, who's got the heads up on some new deal coming down, new products that happen to be coming down the line for different companies. None of it was interesting to me at all. All I want to do is play with my gadgets, I thought to myself, as I put the last finishing touches on one of my mother's birthday presents. I did want today to be special for her. After all, she did always put a lot of thought and effort into our birthdays, making sure to always do things that we wanted to do. And her present selection was always right on point, like she could read our minds or something. I thought to myself, giving it the last few turns of the screwdriver, and checking to make sure all the welds were in place, and that everything would run smoothly once I started it. Before I began to hear some shuffling coming down the hallway, heading for the room. I wanted to keep my birthday present a surprise, so I went ahead and tucked it back away in its box, managing to do so just before Michael entered the room. "Bro, are you spacing out?" Michael said as he entered. "Like really, it's almost time for the party. You know Mom's gonna kill us if we're late, right? Well, maybe not Mom, but definitely Dad." "I'm ready. I was just finishing up something, that's all." "Come on, Gabriel, you're always finishing something up. And the moment you get finished with finishing something up, you start something new, and then you'll be finishing that up for a while. Do you ever stop building stuff? Like seriously, like 5 minutes. Hey, I don't comment on your comic book collection, so leave my gadgets alone. And besides, at least I know how to tie a tie." "You still did it wrong," I replied, getting up with the box still in my hands, tucking it under my arm for a moment as I walked over to Michael. How long am I going to have to tie this for you?" "Well, I'm guessing forever," Michael said, smiling back at me. "Why do I need to learn how to tie a tie? I mean, you can do that. So I really don't need to learn it. You could always stop doing it for me." "Yeah, but when you don't tie your tie, we both get yelled at. And thus my eternal laziness is sustained," Michael said, smiling again, as I put the last finishing touches on his tie, straightening it a bit. Mother and Father had chosen me and Michael matching suits as usual. They always liked us to dress the same when it came to parties. Really play up the twins angle. We get far more comments about being adorable that way. They're not really our cup of tea, but Mother seems to like it. "So, what'd you get Mom?" I asked Michael, as I backed away a bit, checking over my work, making sure he didn't have anything else out of order. "Oh, it's great. I think Mom will love it," Michael said, as he ran to his bed, reaching under it and pulling out a small wrapped object. It was very flat and square. "Don't tell Mom, but I got her a record. You know, like those really old things from like way before the real days of technology, like back in the earliest stage of music recording. It's a recording of someone performing one of her favorite songs, Ode to Joy. I have a friend whose dad is an antiques collector, and after a fair amount of negotiation, I was able to get him to part with it. You think Mom will like it?" I smiled back at Michael, fully aware that she probably would love it. It was right up her alley. "Yeah, Michael, she'll love it. I only hope she likes my present as much. I wasn't really sure if just the one that I had was going to work, but I have been working really hard on it. I suppose I didn't really buy my presents. I sort of made one of them, and the other I just put a lot of effort into. I hope she'll like it." "Well, of course she will," Michael replied. "Mom always likes it when we make stuff for her. I don't think her birthday's going to be an exception. So what kind of gadget did you put together for her? Come on, I know what you're hiding in that box. You made some sort of little mechanical doodad. So, what's it do? Okay, so you promise you're not going to tell, right? Yeah, I swear, Michael replied. So I knelt down, placing the box on the floor and removing the lid. As I did, it revealed a large amount of packing paper, used to fill the space so the object didn't rattle around or roll about. I gently picked it out of the box, moving it to the side just a bit, and placing it on the ground. What appeared to be a tiny metal bird. A bird, huh? So what's it do? Ooh, can it fly? Does it have like rockets on it? No. Rockets require chemicals, man. I don't want Mom to have to refuel it. Well, basically, if you want a description, I heard about antique music boxes. You know, little wind-up toys that you twist a knob on and they sing pretty little songs. I guess this is basically just that, with some modern touches. And I made it a bird because Mom likes birds. Check it out, I said, before giving a slight whistle. As I did, a series of lights began to glow outside of the bird, illuminating it a bright yellowish color that seemed to shine very nicely from the metal. Its tiny mechanical wings moved somewhat as its little bird feet skittered around a bit, making some chirping noises, after which I whistled a very short tune, at which point the bird duplicated, skittering around and began chirping the same tune. Whoa, that's cool. So it just copies whatever? Well, specifically, I replied, it's a perfect duplicate bird. It's programmed to hear a frequency and then duplicate that frequency, so long as it's an octave singing type of tone. Whistles, humming, even notes played with musical instruments like flutes and pianos. If you play it, it sings it. Whoa! You know, I'd ask how you did that, but regardless of how many times I ask, I never understand the explanation. So I'll just leave it to it's cool. You're right, Mom'll love it. I was hopeful that she would. So for the moment, I tapped the bird on the head twice, which was the signal for it to turn off, at which point it settled down, unfurling its little metal wings, curling them back in on itself, and squatting, which was its off position. After which, I gently lifted it up, put it back in its box, and firmly attached the lid. I'm telling you, bro, you seriously need to put that head of yours to some sort of good use. Build me like rocket shoes or something. Or a jetpack. That would be so cool, Michael said, as we got off of our knees and started heading out of the door. They would no doubt be waiting for us in the party. Mother and father especially. Dad was a bit more stern about us showing up on time. If it were left to Mother, she would probably usually let us slide. She wasn't exactly a hard case. She usually let us get our way with basically everything. As long as we were happy, she seemed to be happy with it. As we exited our room, beginning to walk through the hallway, heading towards the front room where we could reach the elevator. The penthouse where we lived was, well, beautiful. Decorated with fine furniture, the stainless glass windows that overviewed the city below always seemed pretty grand. Being able to see just about everything, as the biotech building was the tallest building in the entire city. So basically, from our house, you could see anything in the city, all the way out to the walls. We were on our way to the elevator as I gave it a final glance. I did love the view. But after a very short wait, the elevator doors opened, and myself and Michael hopped on, bound for the party below. Hopefully, we wouldn't have to put up with another round of drunken karaoke from the adults. But I could only really cross my fingers and pray.